Hello everybody, Cheryl here. Today I'm going to be doing a makeup tutorial and I will be using all drugstore makeup, inexpensive makeup, and I will be showing you my anti-aging makeup tips. And so I will be back with all my makeup off and we can get into it. Hello, I'm back, and so now I'm going to show you first of all how I do my skincare before doing my makeup. I just want to tell you that I'm surprised that I'm actually getting on YouTube like this. I won't even, for many years I wouldn't even let anybody take a picture of me or see me without makeup. But but I'm doing this for you guys because I want to show you, what my tricks and tips to help you out. So first of all, I'm going to start with, I have the Ordinary Growth Factor, and that's the first thing that I do is I shake it real good, and then I put it a few drops in the palm of my hand, and then I spread it, and it goes on so well. And just kind of pat it in. I use this Ordinary Growth Factor when I'm microneedling. I'll microneedle and then I'll pat it all in. And it's really good for helping with the healing process. Okay, so I bought this Power Peptides from Geek and Gorgeous, Power Peptides 101, and I'm going to put that on. Shake it. And then once again, I just pat it all in. Make sure you get your neck and your chest and your ears. And so the next step is the CeraVe moisturizing cream, which has ceramides and hyaluronic acid for moisture. Because I did use my tretinoin last night, so I want to make sure and hydrate. So everything in an upward motion, patting in and going upwards. Okay, so now we must never forget sunscreen. And I got this Aveeno Protect and Hydrate. Which is really hydrating, doesn't leave a white cast. I just love this sunscreen. Okay, now I'll just let that soak in a little bit. And then we'll start. Once that soaks in a little bit, then I'll start my makeup routine. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to start with is the Maybelline Full Wear L'Oreal. And I have two different colors. And I will make sure and list those. I had to mix them because it's really hard for me to find my color. So I have a little bit of a darker color that I put, and then I mix it with a lighter shade. And this stuff is so great. It stays on all day. It has really, really good coverage. Okay, so what I start by doing is just patting it in. I pat it right in there. And just kind of pat it in and put it up right here in those dark spots up in the eye area. And then I just kind of let it sit there for a minute, and I put on some lipstick because my lips are dry. And this color is Elf. And I'll list that color too. Okay, so after I do that, then I go back and I pat it in a little bit, and then pat it right up in here. And then around my nose. Okay, and so the next step is the bronzer. I don't use foundation, just the concealer and then the bronzer. Okay, so what I have here is the Milani and I just pat it here, a little bit on the sides of my forehead, a little bit on my nose, up here, up high. I just take this and pat it in. Okay, then I do circles to blend it really good. And I use my fingers a lot too. I really love the Milani products, and they're not too expensive either. And they have really good quality. Okay, so the next thing I do is I do my eyebrows. And I have this Maybelline Blonde eyebrow pencil. So the first thing I do is I brush them. And I have a really thin tip so that I can just kind of, draw them in. So as I get older, I have to use a magnifying mirror because I can't see. So I just kind of do little drawing motions to make them look like my real eyebrows. And then I brush them and going in the direction of the eyebrow. Okay, so the next step is my blush. And again, I have the Milani blush. I just put like a little dab right here. And blend that in. Okay, so the next step is my eyes. So I have this e.l.f. inexpensive, really, really pretty colors. And so I start with the darkest color, the brown. And I just go into the corner of my eye. Okay, and then I always put like a little highlighter spot right in the middle here to help with the darkness. Okay. And then I just blend this with my finger. I just kind of tap it in. And then I take a Q-tip Okay, so the next thing I do is I have I have an e.l.f. And this is just a stay all day eyeshadow, but I actually use it. It works really good for me. It doesn't have enough. It's not light enough, and so I use it as a base, and then I put on my eyelid shadow. Boy, I live up in the mountains and it's getting hot already. I am already sweating and my makeup is already melting. And so I take my finger and I just kind of go like that. to blend that in. And then I use, once again, this e.l.f. and I use this lightest color. And I kind of, I put it more in the middle part of the eyelid. I just love this color. And then, again, I take my finger to blend. I like to use my fingers a lot. Okay, so the next step is my eyeliner. Cocoa Ink. And I go in the middle, and then on the outer, I tightline it. And so, there you go. Okay, and then I use the tubing type of mascara, and so I first use the lash extender, and then I use the Milani afterwards, because I bought the brown in this lash extender, and it really isn't dark enough, and so I use that as a base, and then I put the black one, and it looks really good. So I curl my eyelashes first, because I have really straight eyelashes, and I do one at a time. So I just put like a thin coat of this to start with. Okay. And then before I go and put the last coat on the top, I do a little bit on the bottom eyelashes. It brings out your eyes when you do the bottom. especially if you have, you know, beady little eyes, and which I feel like I have when I don't have on my mascara. See how that makes a difference? I also want to show you my highlighter trick. I go right here on the bridge of my nose and right here, and then I go right here and right here. And so the reason is because when I highlight right here, it disguises the frown lines. And then when I put it on the cheeks, it makes it look like there's more volume. Because I have, like, you know, I'm losing volume in my face as I get older. So any little trick that you can use. So see how that helps? Okay, so the next thing that I need to do is I'm going to put on the Milani Highly Rated on my eyelashes. And you'll be amazed when you see what that makes my eyes, how it makes it pop by just putting this mascara on. I love these tubing mascaras because they do not destroy my eyelashes. And you know, there are little tricks that you can do. Also, it's kind of a learning curve. I had to learn how to get it off. And so one of the things I do is I use my moisturizing cleansing balm, and I go in an upward, I've learned that if I go in an upward direction, the tubes come right off. Now you kind of want to let that dry before you go to do your hair or anything, because you don't want it to, it has to dry fully, or because so it doesn't, you know, you don't get it all over on your upper eyelid. And I always, when I put this on, I always go in the direction of my eyelashes so that it goes on without clumping. There's going to be a learning curve and an art for me to learn how to show you how to put on my makeup, because I do, like I said, I do have eyesight, you know, and I have to use a magnifying mirror. So there's going to be a learning curve of showing you how to do it, and you know, with having to use my magnifying mirror at the same time. Okay, so we are almost done with the finishing touches. The last thing I do is I like to use it's a Maybelline Stay All Day crayon, and it's really not meant as a lip liner, but I have found that it works really nice as a lip liner, and it stays on all day. And I'll show you. And I'm using a little dark, a lot of times I use just like a pink, you know, but I'm using a little darker color today, so to bring out my lips, and because it does also cause you to look more youthful when you line your lips. And so I don't go all the way down to the corner so that it doesn't run. And I start right here. And then I start like right here in the middle and go, and I don't go all the way to the corner either. See how that pops? And then I, so that it's not so bright, I use my e.l.f. lipstick to tone it down a little bit. And there you go. I will be back again with the finishing touch when my hair is done. And I really hope that you enjoyed this video and that you learned and that I could help you with my beauty tips that I have learned. And you have a wonderful day. So here is the ending result of my makeup and my hair. So if you enjoyed my content and you want to see more, please subscribe, and you have a very nice day.